Welcome back to my channel, everyone. In today's video, we are doing another IKEA hack and we are turning something basic to something bougie. Let's get to it. So I have these IKEA boxes here. They're the kinds that have like a base and then they have the lid on top, but the lid has a bit of a lip, which makes it perfect for working with resin because you can fill it with stuff and then fill it with resin and you're not going to have any drips and you don't have to worry about taping it or containing it or whatever. So I have a bit of a story how I ended up doing this because this is not my first time using these. I'll tell you a bit more about it later, but for now, we're just going to be working on the lids. We're not going to be working with the boxes, so I can put those aside and we can start with our project. So I have 3 boxes and we're going to be doing 3 different kind of things on each of them. So for my first one, I want to do an acrylic pour. And I basically had some acrylic pouring paint lying around, and if you've been following me for a while, you would know that I don't usually work with acrylic paint. I have done a few projects, but I'm no expert on this, but I absolutely love how it all turns out, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going for like a dirty cup here and I'm mixing in some paint, like I'm just layering up some paint in my cup. And I kind of have shades of blue, silver, tiny amount of black, gray. So because bear in mind, I do want the lids to match the bases of my box, like the actual box, which is kind of gray in color. And although you do have these boxes available at IKEA in, I believe, black, white, and gray, but my ones are gray because the others were out of stock. So anyway, so I'm trying to match what I do on the lid to the box color. And so this is me pouring out this dirty cup. And I'm just going to do a couple of cups here just to fill up the lid, and then we're just going to tilt it. So I think I'm happy with what this looks like. It looks very oceany and I love it. Like I love some of the effects and the waning that this has made, and it looks flowy and natural and I love it. So we are ready to move on to the next one. Now, I know I said I was going to do different things on each one of them, but bear with me because I loved the acrylic pour on the earlier one so much. I did do another acrylic pour on this. Why? But we will make a few changes once this cures later. So it's not entirely the same, but yes, the base is an acrylic pour. And this time I'm using different colors. So I have kept in the theme of like gray and blue to match the bottom, but I've also added a bit of peach and copper in the mix. Now I'm using acrylic pouring paint here, but you could by all means use resin to do a dirty cup or to use it the same way. Oh my God, I am absolutely in love with this one. I feel like the pink and the copper just make this absolutely beautiful. So I think I'm so happy with it. I'm gonna leave it. And because these are acrylics, these are gonna take their while to dry. Like it's gonna take a good couple of days, I believe, because I did go with quite a thick dirty pour on these. So we're going to set these aside and we're going to move on to the third one. Okay, so for the last one, I am using resin and I have mixed up my J Addiction Officials resin and putting down a very, very thin layer, super thin layer. And this is my quick curing. It's the fast cure resin by J Addictions. And I'm going to link everything in the description below for you.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So my layer of resin is a little bit tacky now, which is when I can move on to the next step. And what I'm going to be doing for this one is adding some flowers. So I have a mix of dry flowers. I'm kind of going for pinky, purpley vibes on this one because I feel like with the contrast of the black, it would really look so pretty. And also, let me tell you what the story behind these boxes is.
Okay. Story time.
So, I think it was like a couple of years ago now, I was at IKEA and, you know, looking through stuff and picking up random stuff I saw, as you do when you're in IKEA. And I saw these boxes and I immediately thought I want to use these for something to do with resin. And I picked up a couple. I picked up 2 or 3, I believe, and yeah, got them home. Now, I don't think I have a video of using those, But basically what I did is I did the same thing. I did some resin pour on the top of the lids, and now those boxes have been in my house on my dresser for all this while, like I said, 2 years. And I did make a whole set, which is like a tray for my vanity. So it has all my perfumes on top, and then I have a tissue box, and then I have this box that contains like my hairbrush and other little bits and bobs. And I also, like I said, I made 2, so I made another one which went in my guest bedroom. So a while ago, when my mother-in-law visited me, she saw them and she absolutely loved them and asked if I could make her some for her vanity. So I made her a box and she took it back. She lives in India. She took it back and she has it on her vanity since then. And then she has had a few people come over home, like her friends, and they have seen it and they have been like, oh wow, I really like that box. Where did you get it from? And she was like, so proudly, as any proud mother-in-law would say, she said, well, my daughter-in-law made them for me. And you know, they absolutely love them. Now, I am visiting India and I'm visiting her later next month, and she asked if I could make some for her friends and she could surprise her friends with them. So these boxes are going to be going back to India with me so I can give it to her and she can give them to her friends. So this is the story behind these boxes, and this is why when I decided to make some more of these, I thought I have to share it with you guys, because this hack with just simple IKEA boxes is so fun and it looks absolutely stunning in any space. Okay, so after all of that rambling that I just did there, we are ready to cover all of these flowers with a nice thick layer of resin. Now, I have put down a decent amount of resin, but we might have some flowers that are still poking up top. So we'll come down and scrape them and then do another top coat. And before I do that, I have decided to add this handle. So it's basically a doorknob and it's this black crystal, and I think that would go really well. So I've added that in. And I've also done a top coat on the acrylic ones, and I have added a crystal, like an agate crystal, on this peachy, pinky, gray, bluey one. And for the blue one, I have added a resin crystal that I had made using an Art for Start crystal mold. So I'm actually combined 2 crystals and made that kind of like a cluster. And so these are going to be the handles of the lids. And finally, I'm ready to show you what these look like. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I am absolutely in love with these. And you have to tell me which one of these you like the best. And I really, really hope my mother-in-law likes these. I'm sure she will, and hopefully her friends will too. Fingers crossed. I did add a couple of glitter lines on top of the blue one just to highlight some accent areas. So I don't know if you can see it on camera. It's just one up top and one on the side, and just to add a little bit of something to it. And I think it looks really, really nice. And this is the last one, which is the peachy coppery one. I love this so much. I did nothing to it. I left it as is, and I'm so glad I did, because I just love all the effects it's made. Like, it's like a world in itself. It looks so amazing. Like, I could watch that for hours. And I think the agate goes really nicely with the color tones that we have. So hope you've enjoyed this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye.